Hey, friends, welcome. Another edition of Move the Sticks is off and running here. In for DJ, I am Rhett Lewis here with the great Bucky Brooks, and we are fired up as the rookie draft is coming down to the wire, down to the end. We'll get to that in today's episode. We'll get you our coordinator of the week. But Bucky, boy, the San Francisco 49ers are a-rolling on Monday Night Football. What's happening, brother?
No, what's going on, man? Like it's kind of crazy. You talk about that Monday Night Football game, the Niners just going up and down the field. And until they put the graphic up at one point, Red, I think it was 19 straight drives without a punt. 16 of those ended in scores. I think 10 of those were maybe touchdowns and 6 field goals. It's really amazing to see. And I'm going to say this. I think this is Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job in terms of all that he had to deal with the injuries. Bosa, Warner, Brock Purdy for a big part of the season, all sidelined. George Kittle not being available. Brandon Ayuk just going AWOL.
On.
And yet this team is sitting here with a legitimate chance to be the number one seed in the NFC. It's something that I don't think anybody could have envisioned early in the year when they started getting hit with injuries.
Man, pretty dang impressive. I think, obviously the offense always to a certain degree runs through Christian McCaffrey. Now there was a time of the year where he was, touching the ball 30 times a game, it felt like, whether that was, attempts in the run game or targets and receptions in the pass game. He obviously still has scored 2 touchdowns in this game, but man, the downfield pass game from Brock Purdy last night and really these last couple of weeks that you were kind of alluding to there, they're averaging almost 7 yards of play. Over 440 yards total, and he's throwing the football with some real, this is like the Brock Purdy before he got injured in the NFC Championship game against Philly.
It's the explosive efficiency that you're seeing from the position. And one of the things that we've always loved about the Shanahan system is it creates explosive plays in the passing game, and it's very, very easy for the quarterback to be able to get it done. When they're able to run the football, the play action passing that comes off of that, the big plays over the middle, and you're seeing anybody and everybody. I see Scott Moore sightings when we hadn't talked about him in years. All of a sudden he shows up and he's making plays. They got other guys all over the perimeter.
Juwan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne.
They're able to kind of put it together with a hodgepodge of players. And it's really a testament to what Kyle Shanahan is able to do on the whiteboard.
I would say the same. The other thing, now look, George Kittle got banged up in this game. Obviously, he missed a ton of time early with the hammy, and now it sounded like it was an ankle. So we'll see how that affects them. This does feel like a team that cannot afford to lose anybody. Cannot. There are a few teams that can afford to lose guys this time of year, but especially with where the 49ers are from a baseline perspective in terms of season-ending injuries that they've already suffered. Which brings me to the defensive side of the ball. You said this might be Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job. Is this Robert Saleh's best coaching job, considering no Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner, defense still playing at a pretty high level?
Yeah, and I think people have to understand that you have to judge the Niners differently based on what he's had to switch. Before, the Niners were what I considered a shut them down defense, meaning they weren't trying to concede yards. They were playing real tight coverage on the outside, and even though it was zone, they were trying to snuff people out. Now, with the injuries and the young guys playing and the backups playing, they're a little more bend but don't break, but they concentrate on being good in a few different areas. One, can be great in the red zone, and 2, can we turn the opponent over when we get a chance? Now, the turnovers are a little more random when it comes to it, but the red zone defense, that's where they're putting a lot of their time and energy in terms of being able to make it very, very difficult for people to get 7s and making them settle for 3s.
It's a great point too. And there are certain, areas in which they excelled on Monday night. And that was, with Jonathan Taylor and kind of with Christian McCaffrey, but Jonathan Taylor has more long speed to me at this point in their careers. Like, if you can avoid the explosive runs, like those game-changing runs, you've kind of won the day. Like, he might get, 80, 75, 80 yards, whatever it is, because they're going to keep handing him the football. I think he ended up with, with 46 on 16 attempts in this one, but 0 explosive runs, 0 runs longer than 10 yards in this game. That is a huge win, especially when you've got, look, Phillip Rivers, I think, deserves a ton of credit for what he's done. But the fact is, at this point, you'd rather, rush Phillip Rivers than deal with Jonathan Taylor on the ground.
Yeah, and I think it was very difficult for the Niners to prepare for the Colts because You just didn't know what Phillip Rivers is going to have. And so you can load up Jonathan Taylor. And very early in the game, Phillip Rivers was dealing because you tried to blitz him. He was able to find the checkdowns quickly. The ball came out of his hands. Then you tried to sit back in the soft zone, and he was killing you underneath with the checkdowns and the underneath throws to catch and run things. And it took a while for the Niners to corral them. It really took the first half going into the third quarter before they were able to kind of get him under wraps. But the Niners are sitting pretty because they can control their own destiny. They have the Chicago Bears on tap, and then I think they finished with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Man, they win both those games, Rhett. They're going to be the number one seed, and everyone's going to have to come through Levi's Stadium, which is kind of bananas to think about.
I know it's been a terrific run, certainly for the San Francisco 49ers. And if we are just assessing exactly where they are, I was trying to get a sense for the rest of their schedule. So let me just pull that up here real quickly. The rest of their schedule finishes with the Bears. That's going to be a heck of a matchup, right? 3 days after Christmas. So Bears, Niners, that'll be in Santa Clara. And then the season finale is against Seattle. And who knows where that takes them right at the end of this thing. So there's some possibilities out there, as you're mentioning here with the 49ers, that, man, that's pretty big time. Now, on the flip side, let's get to the Colts side of things here. Look, they're not eliminated mathematically, but it's going to be pretty tough. They've now lost 5 straight, 6 of their last 7. They would be just the 6th team since the merger to start 7-1 and ultimately miss the playoffs. Like, think about that. That's not. And look, that's what happens, and unfortunately the Colts have been here before with, starting quarterback injuries, but that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. And I think what people have to understand is their schedule was so backloaded. All the heavy hitters on this schedule were in succession right down the last half of the season. And that coincided with Daniel Jones getting hurt. First, getting banged up, with the broken fibula. I think that's what he had. And then eventually he pops his Achilles.
Yeah, it was like a cracked fibula. And then, and then the Achilles went.
So he was compromised for a couple of weeks before he was eventually lost for the season. And then you play with Riley Leonard. He has to come out. And then you bring Phillip Rivers off the bench. And that's just hard to navigate the schedule that they were tasked with. That's it, man. I think Shane Steichen, Lou Anarumo, I know there's going to be a lot of talk about whether those guys should go, but I just see this team as being a really good team. They've just been snake bit. And I don't know if switching the people makes it better. I just think it's unfortunate that they're having to deal with that. And I know no one wants to hear that, but this team is a really good team. You saw that last night in spite of the injuries and a 44-year quarterback getting off the couch. I just don't know if turnover changes, but they have a quarterback situation with Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and now Phillip Rivers. Like, they have a quarterback dilemma. They have to figure that position out.
So if you are Colts ownership, look, obviously, it's similar, but not the same, right? As when Jim was there, obviously his daughter's, stepping into a bigger role here. But are you comfortable with what you saw from Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones to feel good enough to leave that as this is the way we want to roll, especially coming off the Achilles, right? And knowing that it was in a limited sample size and as before the competition was really starting to ratchet up, as you're talking about here, like, from an ownership perspective, are you feeling comfortable enough to let that stay as status quo moving forward? I
think you have to be given the landscape of the quarterback position.
What else is out there? Right.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, Daniel Jones is probably the best option on the free agent market because remember, people are talking about Mac Jones. Mac Jones has another year on his deal.
Yeah, it's a 1-year deal for Daniel.
Yeah. So you have to trade for Mac Jones. And then if you think of the other options and possibilities, none of them match up to Daniel Jones, who knows your system, performed well in your system. You got it. And then in the draft, I mean, let's be honest, like right now, in looking at the 26 quarterback class, it's Fernando Mendoza and a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's one quarterback that we can legitimately talk about being in the class. The rest of the guys are not franchise changers or savers. To me, this speaks to, hey, man, we need to run it back with Daniel Jones and see if we can find our answer while we have him in tow.
Yeah. So I think that's a tough spot to be in because look, I think, this thing goes forward the way it was trending and you're like, man, this is great. Well, whether we got to franchise Daniel Jones, just to get him for this next year, figure out a long-term deal, that sort of thing, or let it play out for another year. If you're really curious, because you certainly could, although that's never the way that the players want to attack this thing. Now the injury also a part of it. It's just a cloudy spot to be in, and they're too good to be in the market for Fernando Mendoza. He's going to be long gone by the time the Colts come on the clock, most likely. Especially if it's a supply and demand issue where there's a bunch of teams that want a quarterback, and he's really the only one that fits the bill.
Only one.
Yeah. So
only one.
yeah. So there may only be one team that gets a shot, and right now there's a pretty good race between the Giants and the Raiders for that one spot. So we'll kind of see where that ends up. But yeah, okay. So that's where the Colts and the 49ers are. So we will put a bow on week 16 in the NFL. We are down to the final 2 weeks, week 17 and week 18. We'll get Christmas Day games coming up here this week. So a lot to look forward to on a couple of days of football here in week 17. Okay, let's jump into the rookie draft. Another good week for Bucky Brooks, who is making a serious push down the stretch here, getting wins in the receiver category with Teteroa McMillan, just over 19 fantasy points. And in the running back position, just over Omarion Hampton. I keep getting screwed here. Okay, it's the second time that I've had a guy that is not playing that got hurt or whatever and was not available and just gives me a big old goose egg. Woody Marks was questionable. I got no help from Gavin on this front. Be like, hey, you want to substitute a running back? Because I went with Jawar Jordan on my actual fantasy team. We ended up, having a decent day. It wouldn't have surpassed Omarion Hampton, but would have beat DJ out and snuck an extra point in there. Anyway, that's where we're at there. I did get the win for Harold Fannin at nearly 20 points. Actually, the high scorer of the day for rookies.
He's killing it.
Yeah, he's the new Tyler Warren, especially with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. So that's where I got 3 points. Bucky ends up with 7, DJ 2. So that brings our race at this point. I am still in first, but by a tight margin, 69 points, followed by Bucky at 65, DJ way down there at 58 points.
Oh, look at you.
Rutgers
finishing fourth quarter.
Let's go. Okay, so that's where the standings are for this past week. Let's jump into what things will look like this week for the week 17 edition. Bucky has the first pick. I had the second pick. DJ's in the 3 hole, so he'll have back-to-back picks at 3 and 4. And then we'll kind of go back around and I'll come back in. And then Bucky, you'll have back-to-back picks on the second half. So you have the first pick, my friend. Is there a place that you want to go?
Man, this is a tough one because, number 1 overall pick has a lot of pressure on it. But given the guy was a high scorer last week, I think we have to go with Harold Fannin Jr. in the matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just thinking Shedeur has only found one guy that he can depend on. And so 44 is that guy. And Red, I have they're handing him the ball, a little fullback. They're leaning to his pass as a running back, letting him touch the ball near the goal line. So Harold Fannin
I like
Jr.
that. Harold Fannin Jr. Try to just lock up a 3 points right there. So no need for me to jump in on tight ends. I'll wait on that. I think it's all about my pick of the litter, the running backs and the receivers. And there's really only been Teteroa McMillan has been like the receiver as of late. And it's a tough matchup, though, this week for the Panthers. They're going to be sitting here playing the Seattle Seahawks, and they're doing it. Is that one in Seattle? No, but it's in Charlotte. Puka Nacua went off against the Seahawks, that's for sure. Or do I go with the running backs here? I feel like there's probably Judkins got hurt a little bit. Travion Henderson got hurt. And he went out and did not return. So I feel like there's less running backs now. And the Chargers are going up against the Texans defense. Goodness gracious. This is a difficult choice. I think I'm going to stick with Teteroa McMillan right there. So I'm going to take the first receiver off the board and go Teteroa McMillan for the Carolina Panthers against the Seattle Seahawks. That means DJ. I get to make 2 picks for DJ. I'm going to give him Omari and Hampton. So I'll give him running back 1 for his Chargers right there, and then I got to give him another pick here. I'm going to give him Emeka Egbuka. Keep him with the receiver he had last week. So we'll go back to Egbuka.
Ooh.
And so now it is back to me. So I'm going to make another selection, and I'm going to take R.J. Harvey, running back for the Broncos.
Oh, Red, what are we doing? I'm high on R.J. Harvey. I sat there and watched him.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched Sean Payton just give it to him.
Just give it to him. I know.
I mean, like he's Alvin Kamara all over again.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's tough. So now that leaves me running back wise.
Yeah, you need a running back and you need a receiver. You got 2 picks.
I'm gonna take Ashton Genty because he had a big game. I actually thought that somebody had him in the draft. Now at wide receiver, we're still because you took T-Mac, right?
I took T-Mac.
Yeah, you took T-Mac. Emeka Egbuka is gone. Dang it. Who's left? Who's left out there?
Yeah, that's the third receiver has been so hard this year. So I mean, it's a good exercise. So in terms of receiving yards,
oh my gosh,
it's Egbuka and Tedero McMillan are both up there at the top. They're obviously off the board. The next receiver is Luther Burden with 479 yards, and he's got 36 catches. Jaden Higgins is getting closer. Elike Manor, is kind of just up there, but you never know.
I think I have to go with the Bears just because, the fun thing in watching that game on Saturday, he's around, but they found DJ Moore, and I didn't like that because I like when DJ Moore is not found because the ball goes in other areas. But let's take our chance with Luther Burden going big. They need this. They got to get this dub. They're playing the Niners, so maybe there's more to go around. So yeah, Luther Burden, and it's a Sunday night game. So
yeah, and the tight end, the third tight end has gotten increasingly more. I need to give DJ a tight end too, but he's last. So I've got my choice for the second tight end, which we've kind of been on the Colston Loveland train here. Tyler Warren has not caught more than 3 balls in a game since week 12. It's been 3 catches, 2 catches, 3 catches, 3 catches. So you're seeing the Daniel Jones effect there. Now he's been targeted, 6 times, 8 times. That's been a little bit, just finding some consistency with both Riley Leonard and Phillip Rivers has been difficult for Warren. I think I got to go with Colston Loveland here.
I liked it though.
Yeah. I think I got to go Colston Loveland, and I think I will do that. And I guess that leaves for DJ. Do we want to give DJ Gadsden or are we going to give him Tyler Warren?
Well, if Riley Leonard plays, I'd be more likely to give him Tyler Warren, but I just don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, Rondé Gaston, that would give him 2 charges. He'll probably be mad about having 2 charges on the team.
You think?
Right?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Let's give him Tyler Warren.
You can't complain. His first round pick. We give him a first round pick.
Yeah, he was the number 1 pick of the draft for like the first 8 weeks of the season. So DJ finishes with Egbuka, Hampton, Warren, Bucky. You end up with Fannin, Genty, and you went with Burden. And then I closed it out with Harvey, T-Mac, and Loveland. There we go. Okay, so the picks are in. It's getting close, and we got 2 weeks left. Week 18 is going to be even more difficult dealing with teams, resting play. We don't know. I hate doing the final week of the regular season, but we'll see. Time for Hot or Not, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, and it is our coordinator of the week, and it is a hot offense with a hot young quarterback. Talking about the rookie Tyler Shuck, and so we are giving our coordinator of the week award to Saints offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier. Now, this is kind of a joint award because Kellen Moore is the play caller, but Nuss is the OC and quarterbacks coach, spends a lot of time with Shuck. And so we wanted to give Nussmeier some credit here. He has been a well-traveled dude. And obviously his son, Garrett is quarterback we'll be talking about as he makes his transition from LSU into the NFL. True coach's son. That dude's got excellent fundamentals, great, just kind of technician at the quarterback spot. That's neither here nor there. But I think that's what he's doing with Tyler Shuck. Like that's kind of the point here. He is really harnessing that great talent that we saw, at times throughout his 7-year college career. And both in the run game and in the pass game, he's showing you what kind of a valuable weapon he has become. So let's just give you a little background again on Nuss. Nuss began his he was a draft pick out of Idaho. I think it was fourth. I want to say his fourth round back in 1994. And was picked by the Saints. So I got to know him quite a bit when I was messing around with my dad, in the locker room, and Nuss was great. Actually held the Superdome longest touchdown pass record, like inside the Superdome, for a touchdown pass he threw to Terry Guess, a receiver.
Whoa. Yeah. Way to pull that out.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a long time ago now. That was quickly erased when Drew Brees got to town. That record went away pretty quickly, but then played a little bit, bounced around the NFL a little bit with the Broncos, Colts, and then got into Canada to finish his career. But his coaching career has been really interesting. I mean, he has been at some blue bloods of college football. And then, I'm talking about Washington, where he was the OC quarterbacks coach, Alabama for 2 years, Michigan, Florida for 3 years, and then got back into the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, spent 5 years there, starting in 2018, was with Kellen Moore with the Chargers, and then went with him to Philly as the quarterbacks coach. And then when Kellen took the head coaching job in New Orleans, brought Nuss in as the OC. So Tyler Shuck, who's been starting for the last few games here, over 300 yards. Like a lot of, it's been the stats have been quiet, Buck, in the past game, but they lit up in this game. What have you seen in terms of the progression from Shuck to kind of give some clarity as to what Nuss has been doing there?
Look, I say Nuss and Kellen Moore have done a really good job of giving Tyler Shuck confidence. And Tyler Shuck, this is the thing, and we talked about it, you were one of his biggest advocates during the pre-draft process in terms of his maturity, but also the skills that he brings to the table. Athletic, big-time arm talent. You would see that arm talent displayed on several prominent plays at Louisville, and you're seeing all of those things come up. I think what has really happened for Shuck is him displaying the dude factor that has helped his teammates fall in love with him. That's been the separating factor between him and Spencer Rattler. Like, he started to show some dude qualities on scrambles and improvisational plays. You saw the big time arm talent, and it clicked. We're seeing Chris Olave show back up. A guy that we loved in the draft process, all of a sudden
and was gone.
He's getting open, and making plays. And a lot of this is due to Tyler Shuck having the arm talent and the confidence and the maturity to kind of make it happen.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. And I just think, again, I remember talking to Shuck a little bit before the season, and I was like, tell me a little bit about Nuss and how it's working with Kellen. He's like, well, look, Kellen is so meticulous and detailed and serious about everything he does, right? It's why he's been such a great coach in the league. Whereas Nuss is a little bit more like, he'll let you have it, kind of a little bit more in your face, it might curse a little bit, whereas Kellen's a little bit more straight arrow. But to have those kind of both personalities, it feels like they kind of give Shuck what he needs in all different scenarios. And look, this is a note, for rookie quarterbacks and for coaches in the league. Like, just because they don't start week one doesn't mean, that they're a failure, right? Like, it took their time, and Spencer Rattler took some lumps there as Shuck kind of continued to refine himself within this offense in New Orleans. And now I think you're seeing the benefits of that, Buck.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what it does is another lesson when it comes to the quarterback process. A lot of times we see the quarterback class as just the first rounders, but Tyler Shuck was a guy who was a fringe first round talent, drafted in the second round, in and out the lineup early, but then he settled in. And, at a time when everyone is wondering how Phillip Rivers is able to come off the couch and play after a 5-year sabbatical at the age of 44 and have success, I think we just have to exhibit more patience as these guys are developing. And I think we have to take guys with more experience coming into the pros. I think all of that stuff matters. Whether he's a 7-year player or not, the amount of starts, there's something about the maturity that he's been able to display. And I think that maturity helps them weather storms so they can get to the other side of the rookie struggles that every quarterback has to face. It's
not a given. It's not a guarantee. But more often than not, the player with more experience rather than maybe like super high level traits a little bit higher than the other guy. If you're comparing them, I'm going to take the dude with experience every time. And that's just what the data tells us at this point.
I mean, we've seen it, man. I sat there and saw it on Sunday. Bo Nix being a guy that came with 60-plus starts. We saw Brock Purdy be a seventh rounder who had almost 50 starts when he entered. I mean, the data does say that if you get a guy who has significant starts, he tends to have a better career. It's just, look, man, in anything in life, experience and expertise matters. And the only way that you develop an expertise is you have to have the experience. And I think we're seeing that at quarterback.
Well, there it is. That was this week's Hot or Not segment, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Store more and do more with your data. Try them for free at wasabi.com. All right, that's going to do it for us this episode of Move the Sticks. Follow along with us on the rookie draft. Tell us how bad DJ is doing on this last stretch run for the championship. He'd love to hear from you at Move the Sticks, just to let him know just how poorly he's been performing in the Move the Sticks rookie draft. All right, thanks to Abu for getting us rolling behind the proverbial glass. For Bucky Brooks, I am Brett Lewis. We will catch you all next time right here on Move the Sticks.